And hello, folks. We've already rolled down to Tuesday here for this week. And I've got your morning lows again, just to kind of remind us of how pleasant it's been lately. Not record lows. That was 60 in 1912. That would really feel good. But hey, it's the middle of August in Louisiana. These numbers feel pretty good, ranging through the 60s. The lowest I got on the map here is 65 in Leesville, 68 here in Alexandria and Pineville, going into Avoyelles Parish. And in fact, you look a little bit to the east and south. We got DeRidder at 70, 72 in Opelousas, 70 in Marksville, and 71 in Vidalia. There's a little bit of moisture laying down in that particular area, and that is going to be moving back into the remainder of central Louisiana. I'm afraid it's going to do so here for by tomorrow. So I think tomorrow morning it won't be quite as nice as it's been the past couple of mornings. We do have a mostly sunny sky though, but it was kind of a hot day. The sun winning the forecast here in the Alexandria Tower Cam on Texas Street in Alexandria. And then we go, and our friends in Leesville, we'll thank you folks in Vernon Parish for your greatly for your support of Sinlaw weather. So we'll give you mostly a hot sun for today in your forecast. Let's check things out for the headlines that I'm talking about. The school prep forecast, we're going to be talking about that all week. Students in many areas, as far as I can tell, come back on the 11th, which is next Monday, and I've got that in the 7-day forecast. Atlantic Basin awakens. Did we awaken a giant? I'll let you know. And we do have some outlooks going into the 8 to 14-day outlook and a long-range tropical outlook as well. That's centered around the 7-day forecast. So radar showing nothing here in central Louisiana. Looks like it may be, well, looks like may have a little something that's penetrated into extreme south west St. Landry Parish. Like I said, maybe a 0% day for Sinlaw, but this little bit counts. All right, so maybe not a 0%, but you can see it's pretty sparse. Even for a normal August day, I think it's less than what we would typically see. Here's that boundary with the moisture return coming back. High pressure to the east of us kind of circulating that back. This moisture boundary, again, along the I-10 corridor right there, will continue to shift northward, I think, overnight, and will play a role in the minimum temperatures for tonight. It'll still be lower north, but warmer to the south, and then it will introduce us back to the humidity there throughout the day. In fact, this model indicating by the time you go back to work Wednesday morning, dew points in the low 70s area wide. All right, so that's enough moisture. That's pretty typical for this time of year. So that's enough moisture to feel. And then once we go into your time as we go home from work and afterwards, say about 6:25 p.m., just a random time, that moisture is going to be shallow. So it will mix out. There's some dry air will actually mix back down to the surface, and that will cut the dew points down in some locations, especially in our central parishes, right in through here, and in areas to the north where you see some dew points fall back into the 60s by that time, and that will help us with the comfort factor for the day tomorrow. Let's go beyond this into another model where I'm going to track you this 8 o'clock. I don't think I have anything to worry about. So yeah, go out with your plans or something like that. And then by the time we get into Wednesday morning forecast, we'll start to feel the humidity. I think it won't be as pleasant. Some of you northern areas could still drop in the upper 60s, but by and large, temperatures will be up from this morning and yesterday morning. And in fact, a few hit and miss showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. This model looks a little worse than I think it will turn out to be. But I got 20% to keep myself covered in the forecast. Back to Thursday morning, you notice humidity back again, as we're back to a typical August morning. So let's check things out beyond your future cast going into Tropical Storm Dexter. This is all part of the activity level in the Atlantic Basin. Remember, that's a collective term that I use to describe the Gulf of Mexico, the North Atlantic Ocean, and the Caribbean Sea. So here's Dexter, going to play out his time across the North Atlantic as it continues to move east-northeast through that area. Maybe a little acceleration toward the end. Maximum staying winds right now, 40 miles per hour. There'll be a concern to some marine interest there in the North Atlantic, but as far as the East Coast is concerned, well, we missed this one. Tropical interest areas over the next 7 days. This is from the Hurricane Center. There's that 50% with a tropical wave there in what we call the main development region. and the probability has increased to 40%, from 30 to 40% there off the southeast coast of the United States for that particular system. All right, so going beyond this into the August 13th through the 26th time frame, so the tropical outlook says that right now things say that the main development region down in this particular area is going to be maybe the hot center for action. That's one of the things that I want you to look out for down here, all right? And usually what happens, things that develop down here, well, they move to other parts of the basin. They can move to Central America. They can move in Mexico. They can hit the United States, all right? So that's why we're going to keep our eyes peeled, Nick and I there, that watch that very closely. But I also want to warn you of what I call the homegrown systems, things that develop close to shore, like in the northern Gulf or just off the east coast of Florida or the coast of the Carolinas or something like that. Those things can be sneaky, so watch out for that as well. I will tell you this, you know, I'm not, don't hype or exaggerate things, but the large-scale weather pattern is favorable over the next month or so for an active Atlantic basin. Okay, so it's time to wake up, I guess, because we've been pretty much inactive so far. So your 7-day forecast, a couple of 20% there for Wednesday and Thursday, and Friday cut it to 10 and back to 20% for Saturday. Those numbers are actually lower than we should be for the first week of August. And the temperatures, it's certainly August as we get 94 to 96, 95, averaging in the middle 90s. That leaves room for some upper 90s and lower 90s there on the cooler thermometers. But notice Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, rain chances come back a little bit more to where we should be for this time of year, which includes Monday for the first day of school in many school systems there. So I think what usually is going to happen there is we'll be okay going to school, but going home from school might have to deal with a shower or a thunderstorm. But even there, 40% means that most folks won't have to deal with it. So let's go beyond this into the 8 to 14 day outlook, beyond the 7-day, as I call it. So in central Louisiana, we typically see a low of 72 and a high 94. You can see much of the country is in, now from the Climate Prediction Center, higher than normal temperature readings. So for Sinlow, you can look at the numbers there, 72, 94, and say that, we will probably average above that during that time frame. But I do tell you one thing, if you've been paying close attention to this, I've been carrying that the average low was 73. Okay, now it's 72. We're already starting to feel the very, very early inclinations of the change in seasons as the daylight gets shorter and the nights get longer, and the sun angle gets more slanted instead of more direct. So a 1 degree change in the minimum temperatures. How about that, folks? You know, winter's coming for sure, isn't it? Gonna have to wait a while though. All right, so August 13th to 19th, the rainfall outlook. There's a below normal area here where the center of the heat will be. And for central Louisiana, we kind of bisected almost, probably most of the area in the above, but near normal. So the way I would read and interpret this is that most rain gauges in Sinlow will probably get more than about 7/10 of an inch during that week, 13th to 19th of August. Probably about 1/3 will get less than that, 2/3 get more than that. How much more, we don't know. All depends. It's just all kind of a statistical construct to give you an idea of what might be happening. All right, so that's it for me, folks. Thanks for being with me, and Nick Mikos will see you in the morning, and I'll see you about this time or so for